Previously on Gabriel Knight. My life has been turned upside down. My dear Malia is the head of the voodoo cartel, and they are after me. I'm now in Germany, trying to become a Schattenjäger, a shadow hunter. But my great uncle, who should be mentoring me, has disappeared. He is somewhere in Africa, trying to dig out our long-lost talisman. The only artifact that can protect us against evil. Without the talisman, I can't free Malia from Tetalo's grip and turn around my family's fortunes. Before we continue the story, remember to like and subscribe for more ASMR gaming content. I'm wandering around the castle, trying to find clues on my uncle's whereabouts. I then notice a locked door in my uncle's room. Apparently, it leads to the Schattenjäger library. Unfortunately, Gertie hasn't got the key, and besides, only anointed Schattenjägers can enter. My damn luck. So far, I've been just cosplaying as one. I guess that doesn't count. Another interesting place is the castle chapel. It is a magnificent stained glass depicting St. George fighting against the dragon. Funny how I named my shop St. George's Books. Besides that, I noticed a series of drapes depicting a scene, or rather, a sort of ritual. Gertie confirms it is the initiation ritual of a new Schattenjäger. Oh well, I guess I know what I have to do now. I find all the tools needed around the castle and follow the instructions on the drapes. I wash my hands, pour some salt in a bowl, spill some of my blood, cut a chunk of hair, recite the prayer from the scroll I found in Wolfgang's room, and finally I kneel at the altar like a penitent. A few minutes later, I hear a loud noise. It's working. Or maybe not. It was just Gertie deciding it was a good moment to vacuum the chapel. I'm tired and frustrated, so I decide to go to sleep. The night is restless, and I have a horrible nightmare. I'm glad that moving to the other side of the Atlantic did not change that. This time, though, the nightmare is wildly different. The dragon from the stained glass in the chapel comes alive and starts talking to me. It wants to know if I really want to be a Schattenjäger, and that if I decide so, then I have to change my ways. My old and selfish me has to die, so that a new man can be born from its ashes. That is all frightening and disturbing, but I have to find my uncle and defeat Tetalo. So I look the dragon in the eyes and tell it I'm ready, that I'm not afraid of what's to come. The dragon starts laughing, then incinerates me. But does it? I'm still alive, but I feel lighter, like a heavy burden dragging me down has dissolved. The dragon disappears, and a key materializes in my hand. A few moments later, I wake up, all sweaty, and notice a key at the base of the bed. It's the key from my nightmare. Has Gertie brought it for me? Did it come out from the nightmare itself? At this point, I'm open to any kind of explanation. Anyway, I pick up the key and try it on the library door. It works. Time to find where Uncle Wolfgang has gone. The library is well stocked with books about sociology, archaeology, geography, religion, you name it. There's also a full section filled with Ritter family deeds and journals, detailing the various exploits of previous Schottenjägers. Fascinating. Uncle Wolfgang likely found the exact location of the Agri tribe using these books. But where to start? I notice a book about the Republic of Benin is out of place. A quick browse reveals recent handwritten notes and a highlighted section referencing another book about ancient cultures. I find it easily and start browsing. I spend the next 40 minutes jumping from one book reference to another, going through books about religion, sociology, and whatnot, until I finally end up with a book about archaeology. And what do you know? Roughly 50 miles south of Benin's capital is a sacred burial mound used by ancient tribes. There's also a picture of it. It's a double mound with a larger circle and a smaller one inside it. A wheel within a wheel, as Professor Hartridge mentioned on the phone. Now I know where Uncle Wolfgang is. I go downstairs and show Gertie what I've found, hoping that the Ritter family will pay for the trip to Africa. Well, no. Losing a talisman centuries ago meant the Ritters lost their power to fight evil and started to suffer financially. The upkeep costs of the castle are high, and important renovation works are needed. So, long story short, I have to pay for the trip myself. Well, mostly will, as I use his credit card again. Sorry, old friend. A day later, I'm in Benin, right outside the burial site. I enter the outer wheel. All I see is overgrown vegetation and what look like mummified bodies lying on the floor. There's a massive stone door and, on its side, a stick with a serpent head carved on one end. As I move around inside the circle, I realize there's a locking mechanism keeping the door shut. But I quickly figure out what to do. There are some loose panels that I put back in place, and then I use the stick to activate them in the right sequence. And voila, the door opens. Unfortunately, this also activates something else. All those mummified corpses come to life and start chasing me. I quickly run, trying to make it through the door, but I end up cornered by the mummies. Then, all of a sudden, someone jumps out of nowhere. It's Uncle Wolfie. Using a torch, he is able to grab their attention. This allows me to reach the other side of the door and close it again. He quickly jumps and makes it inside the inner wheel before the door shuts down. He seems rather athletic considering his age. How old can he be? At least 80, I'd say. Uncle Wolfgang seems frail and tired. We slowly reach the center of the inner wheel and see a round stone table. It was probably used for rituals. The center has an indentation shaped like a bowl, as if it was used as a container of some sort. According to Wolfgang, they likely put there the freshly cut hearts of their victims. this table are carvings that narrate the story of the Agri tribe and the origin of their power. Centuries ago, a member of the tribe discovered this place. Once inside the inner wheel, he found a small idol irradiating power like a sun. The origin of the idol is unknown, but it seems ancient. Upon closer inspection, the sacrificial table seems to have a removable top. Wolfgang is convinced that Daedalos' bones are inside, along with the talisman. He feels its power, and I feel it too. No matter how hard we try though, the top lid does not move an inch. We conclude that only a sacrifice consisting of putting a heart in the central bowl will unlock the mechanism. Wolfgang suggests I remove the heart from one of the mummies that, thank God, went back to sleep once we closed the door. I'm not convinced that a mummified heart will do the trick, but we can try, I suppose. As I'm carving out the heart in the far back of the room, I hear a strange cracking noise behind me and a muffled groan. I turn around and I cannot believe what I'm witnessing. Uncle Wolfgang has used his Schattenjäger knife to cut his chest open. With his last bit of life, he leans on the sacrificial table, trying to fill the central bowl with his blood and the final beats of his heart. The scene is horrifying, and I can't do anything to stop him. It's too late. Wolfgang's final sacrifice has worked. The top lid becomes loose, and I can push it aside. Inside I see bones, but most importantly, the talisman. Finally, I have the means to destroy Daedalus. But at what price? There's nothing left to do here. When I get back to the capital, I inform Gertie about what happened and arrange for Wolfgang's body to be returned to Germany. Instead, I take a flight back to New Orleans. There's a score to settle. I'm back in the shop, and to my surprise, Grace is not in. But the door was open. My blood runs cold. They've taken Grace. I see a note on the desk from Malia. She says that Daedalus knows I have the talisman, and that, for the sake of me and Grace, I must return it and then leave New Orleans. She adds that she can't stop Daedalus. She's too powerful. So she's asking me to do as Daedalus says, because she couldn't bear to see me die. So I was right. Malia was forced to do all those horrible things by Daedalus. I have to stop that evil spirit and save her. As I'm reading the note, I hear some noises coming from the back room. But I'm ready this time. I have the talisman. It's not necessary though. It's Mosley. He's alive. Oh my God, finally some good news. It turns out he was investigating the Geddes' tomb when he heard someone coming in. So he hid in one of the drawers. Thinking it was one of them, he knocked me on the head and left the tomb as quickly as he could. I'm so relieved he's alive. Oh dear, now I have a funny story about his credit card to tell him. I think I'll wait until this story is over. It's time to make a plan. We have to find the headquarters of the Geddes cartel, where they probably keep Grace, and find some evidence to present to the FBI. We can't ask for help from the local police. They are too compromised, not to mention the other local authorities. I have a hunch where the secret hideout might be, so I'm going to follow up on that. Meanwhile, Mosley will check on his contacts at the FBI. Luckily, I still have the tracking device with me, so we agree that I will leave the tracking bug at the entrance of the hideout, and Mosley will follow the signal. Time to get moving. If my intuition is right, the entrance of the secret temple is hiding in plain sight. Most of the activity of those radadramas is concentrated in Jackson Square. My bet is that the entrance is somewhere in St. Louis Cathedral. I move around the church for a while, looking for secret panels and switches, but with not much luck. When I enter one of the confessionals, I notice a hole in the wall that reminds me of the mechanism used in the burial mound. Luckily, I still have the serpent stick with me. And what do you know? It works. As I insert the stick in the hole, the confessional starts moving. It's an elevator. A few seconds later, I arrive at the secret hideout. Before stepping out, I leave the stick and the tracking bug in the confessional for Mosley. Hopefully, he'll manage to figure out what to do. The place is deserted, and for a second I admire the very modern look. It is definitely not like the burial mound in Benin, even though it has been designed to reproduce its structure and geometry. I move around very quietly. I check the various rooms, hoping to find Grace. In one, I find animals in cages: goats, chickens, spiders. Fresh supplies for rituals and spells, I suppose. I then enter what looks like the accounting department, and by the looks of it, today is everyone's day off. I quickly look around and find what I needed: a ledger detailing some of the illegal dealings of the Getty cartel. That will interest the FBI, I'm sure. I also end up in a storeroom filled with cleaning materials and some animal outfits. That could come in handy to avoid being recognized. I grab two, hoping Mosley will join me soon. I have no idea where I'm going, so I just enter random rooms, hoping no one is inside. In one of them, though, there is someone. It's Malia. I hide behind some furniture while she tries to communicate with Tetelo. She begs Tetelo to spare my life, but the spirit does not listen to her. The spirit is convinced that I will betray Malia, and I will try to kill her, like Gunther did with her centuries ago. Malia does not believe what Tetelo says. She trusts me, but Tetelo is immovable. Frustrated with being Tetelo's puppet, Malia runs away into a back room. You're right, Malia. I will never betray you. I will save you instead. I leave the room and try the next one. Finally, I find Grace. Just as I enter, Mosley shows up as well. Grace is unconscious, probably under a spell, but with the use of the talisman, I manage to wake her up. Now we need to come up with a plan. The idea is to let them bring Grace into the central room for the ritual. When Malia shows up, I will get hold of her before she's possessed by Tetelo. If all goes well, the talisman will protect us, and we will live in one piece, as they won't risk hurting the head of the Geddy cartel. At least that's what I hope. While finalizing our plan, we hear the drum sounds coming from the inner wheel. The ritual has started. Mosley and I quickly wear our animal costumes, and Grace lies down, pretending to be asleep. A few seconds later, Dr. John appears. He's not pleased to see two strangers in the main guest room, so we quickly leave, while he grabs Grace. We're all gathered in the central circle for the ritual. Malia appears with her leopard mask, and oh no, she's already been ridden by Tetelo. We need a plan B, and soon. Malia slowly approaches Grace, who has been placed on the sacrificial slab, which is an exact replica of the one I found in the burial mound in Africa. I'm sure the idol giving power to the Geddys is hidden inside. I can't let Tetelo kill Grace, so I remove my mask and call out to Malia. Unfortunately, Tetelo has completely taken her over, and she can't hear me. Tetelo swings the ritual dagger to kill Grace, but luckily she's awake and dodges the knife. Dr. John quickly leans over and tries to grab her. Mosley is ready though. He takes out his gun and shoots Dr. John in the chest. He then reaches for Grace to make sure she's fine. Dr. John's blood spills on the sacrificial table, unlocking its mechanism. The lid opens, revealing the idol inside, as I hoped. If I can reach it and break it, all this madness will be over. Tetelo, though, has different plans. She moves towards Grace and Mosley, casting spells to force me to give up the talisman to save their lives. There's only one thing I can do. I throw the talisman towards Mosley, and he manages to grab it. I then yell at them to leave the building and not to worry, the talisman will protect them. Indeed, it seems to work. Tetelo cannot get any closer to them, so they can safely leave. Unfortunately, this move leaves me completely at Tetelo's mercy. She quickly casts a spell on me, forcing me to kneel. She then grabs my throat with a clear intention of cutting it with a knife. I can barely move, but I can still speak, so I try to break Tetelo's hold on Malia by talking to her. It kinda works, in the sense that I can speak with Malia, but she can't control what her body is doing. Tetelo is too strong. Breaking through Tetelo's full control of Malia allows me to regain some mobility. While speaking to Malia, I slowly move towards the idol, and that's it. I finally grab it and smash it to the ground. Note for future evil gods or whatever entity the Geddys communicated with. If you put some of your power in an idol, don't make it so fragile. It makes you lame. The moment the idol is broken, Tetelo's power vanishes, and Malia is free. As the evil spirit's power dissolves, so does the invisible fabric holding the secret voodoo temple together. The floor and walls tremble like there's an earthquake, Probably it is an earthquake. Everything starts falling apart and big cracks open on the floor. Luckily, I'm in a safe spot, but Malia is in the middle of it. A huge hole opens right under her feet, and she falls. I quickly jump and grab her arm. I try to pull her up, but I can't. She needs to push herself up, or we won't make it. She looks up at me. She's happy that I didn't betray her, like Tettle said I would. Her smile quickly turns to tears. She's aware she has committed atrocious things, and that until she's alive, Tetelo is alive. I try to pull her up with all my strength, but she moves her arm to get rid of mine. She slips from my hands and disappears into the void below. Her last words, "Goodbye, my love. It's over." A few minutes later, I'm outside with Grace, and we watch from afar as most of Jackson Square collapses. What has happened in the past 10 days has changed my life forever. I guess I am now a Schattenjäger, with great powers and responsibilities towards the others. Yes, me. I'm wondering if I'll be up for the task. I feel I just stumbled through this story with no actual idea of what I was doing. Luckily, it seems Grace might decide not to go back to university to pursue her PhD after all. I definitely need someone with her head in the right place to help me through this. What's going to be next? Vampires? Werewolves? Yeah, werewolves. That could be funny. And so it ends. Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers. I hope you enjoyed this story as much as I did playing it many times over the years. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see more Gabriel Knight videos or this type of content. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care and stay relaxed.